Indiana's own Dana Black coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. I'm still saying Happy Pride because it seems like I need to say that more now than ever before. Happy Pride, everybody. Happy Pride. Woo, it's a heat wave out there. Listen, everybody, please stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. If you don't have to be out there, to my folks that work out in the community and have to do the thing, just be careful. Stay hydrated. Get some of those clothes that protect you from the UV rays and all the things. And just remember to go inside every now and then because I need y'all out here. I want y'all out here. Also, I celebrated my birthday on Friday. This is 54. This is 54. This is what we're working with over here. And the older I get, the less I feel like I got to bite my tongue on some things. You know, the less I feel like I have to be accountable to anyone other than me. So let's get into my rant. The big news, and I'm going to go ahead and lead with it. WTHR reports Democratic governor hopeful Jennifer McCormick picked her choice for a running mate Thursday afternoon. McCormick said she wants to see Terry Gooden as her lieutenant governor for the 2024 general election. Gooden is the state director of rural development for the USDA. He was also a state lawmaker for 20 years and served as House Minority Leader. Jennifer McCormick's pick Terry Gooden, and she had a statement on X that says, "As a ticket, we are committed to bringing back common sense, civility, and bipartisanship while focusing on restoring women's reproductive rights and freedoms, prioritizing education, and fighting for good paying jobs. As a team, we will stay true to empowering all Hoosiers, and all means all." In a press conference today, Gooden said, "I am truly honored and humbled to have been chosen by Jennifer to run as her lieutenant governor candidate. It is time to get our Hoosier state back on the right track, and Jennifer McCormick is the right person at the right time to get this done. I will work closely as her partner to make Indiana a better place to live and work and raise a family." Now, again, we are celebrating Pride this month. And, you know, we all remember, those of us in the community, that Mr. Gooden voted against gay marriage in 2011. And because he's a smart politician, because, you know, you got to be a smart politician, he addressed it also in the press conference. And he said that he felt like that vote was a mistake and that he believes that love is love. Now, I believe people can change. I believe that hearts and minds can change. I believe that, you know, maybe he has come to see the error of his ways. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, Jennifer McCormick was a Republican, but now she's a Democrat running on the Democratic ticket. So if she can switch parties, he was at least already a Democrat. So maybe we can. But if he doesn't, it is up to us to hold him, actually both of them, accountable, right? She picked him, so we're going to have to hold them both accountable. And if we see or hear anything that is untoward, that's if he wins the nomination, right? He's got to win it first. But, you know, if he wins, we will hold him accountable. We will call him out. And like I said, the older I get, the less I'm going to have a filter. My filter, you know, will be off. But here's the thing. I have got to energize the Democratic base to get out. And I've got to convince people to vote for candidates all over the state because that's my job. Everybody got a job to do. That's my job. No, I wasn't thrilled with this pick, but it's what we got. That's who she picked. I also know that there are some other people who are filing to run against him at the convention, which means we're going to have it's possible to have a contested. Actually, I know that there's somebody who was already filed. So we could have a contested convention for LG. So, you know, if he wins and they go out here and start saying some nonsense about gay people or reproductive health care or anything else, then we will hold them accountable. We will not let them get away with it. And I appreciate that he addressed it immediately and did not allow it to fester for too long, right? Because if it festered too long, then it could have been a mess, right? It could have been a real mess. So that being said, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's changed his heart a little bit. And we're going to see if we can pull off some good, because that other side, oh, Lord Jesus, that other side. The Indiana Capitol Chronicle reports Indiana's GOP delegates narrowly named Noblesville pastor Micah Beckwith as the Republican nominee for lieutenant governor in a shocking vote at the party's convention last Saturday. The GOP's 1,719 delegates rebuffed Republican gubernatorial nominee Mike Braun's handpicked choice for the role, first-term Rep. Julie McGuire, in a vote of 891 to 828. That's despite McGuire nabbing a last-minute endorsement from former President Donald Trump. I don't know why these people want an endorsement from a convicted felon. He's a convicted felon. He's been accused of sexual assault and rape and fraud. But this is who their king is. This is who their orange messiah is. The felon. The felon. The Lincoln Project put out a great video that goes through the 10 Commandments and all the things, and that he's not. But hey, they got the endorsement. In a statement, there's no doubt about this. I'm in charge, Braun says. And Micah is going to be someone that works with me. And if he doesn't, it will probably not be as fruitful in terms of what we can get done. It already sounds like they having a swinging contest. I'm just going to leave all the nasty words out. Sounds like they already having a swinging contest. It sounds like Mike Braun is, well, first of all, he mad. Did you see his face? He real mad. He mad at the whole situation. He was like, you guys picked this guy? This guy? Well, who is this guy? Beckwith is a self-proclaimed Christian nationalist. That means he is with the Project 2025 people. He claims to be a Christian nationalist, meaning that if you don't think and believe and pray like him, something wrong with you. Something's wrong with you if you don't pray like him. If you don't think like him, if you don't love like him, something wrong with you. He notoriously leads initiatives to ban books, specifically those of author John Green. He apparently thinks that the LG's offer comes with some check on the governor, as opposed to being a dutiful devotee, which he's supposed to be. In short, he's horrible. He's absolutely horrible. He should be nowhere near our state house, nor should he be the president of our Senate. But this is who who Republicans want. They voted for him. It didn't matter who Braun wanted. They didn't care. They were like, bro, we don't want her. Of course, now he really didn't do anything to help her or promote her. Why would you wait to the last minute to get any kind of endorsement? So obviously you didn't work hard enough to get her the votes that she needs. That's what you were supposed to do. But this is what we got, y'all. I do appreciate that there are, again, 4 white people on the ballot for us to choose from. Too bad we can't get some people of color to run for these high offices. I imagine it would make a difference. Only person of color holding an office is Diego Morales. Good God, what are we doing in Indiana? What are we doing, y'all? This is a hot mess over here. So, only thing we can do, I think, right now is to put a check on Braun, and that's to end that supermajority. Or if McCormick can pull it out, that would be great. I hope, I know that there's a need to get rural votes. I get it. But there's over 400,000 registered voters in Marion County alone. Lake County has the second largest registered voter registration. So I bet if you turn out those 2 municipalities or those 2 counties, you can do some damage. And then you follow it up with St. Joe, Vanderburgh, Monroe, and maybe some Allen County. I'm just going to say Fort Wayne and Allen County because the rest of that county is a little sus. Don't forget about turning out the base, Democrats. Don't forget about us. Because Beckwith is a danger to our state. He's a danger to the health and well-being of young people in our state. He is a danger to LGBTQ plus families. He's a danger to women. He's a danger. And I need y'all to understand that and feel that. He is a danger. So our best bet is not to not let him anywhere near it. So I'm begging Gooden and I'm begging McCormick, do not miss out on the opportunity to energize our base. Do not miss out on that opportunity to energize our base and speak to the needs of all people. All people. And I've been listening to Jennifer over the last couple of years, and I think she gets it. I hope she gets it. I want to feel good about this vote, y'all. So make it happen. I have faith. You guys are good politicians. So make it happen and reach the people and do what you got to do, because the Braun Beckwith ticket is detrimental to my personal health. All right, that's my rant. Y'all, let your voices be heard. Don't let November come and go and we're dealing with a book banner. Banning books. He wants to ban books and has worked hard to ban books. Created chaos in Hamilton County. Created chaos. That level of chaos is what he will bring to our state house. Don't let that happen. Y'all, please. I'm begging. You know me. I ain't too proud to beg. I ain't. But that's my rant. Now it's time to hear from my sponsor, Bohm's Unique Boutique. Today's show is brought to you by Bohm's Unique Boutique. Click on the QR code. And for all Turn Left listeners, you can get a 10% discount on your order by using the code Democrat. Be sure to visit www.bohmsuniqueboutique.com. Democrats, are you looking for an affordable digital content creation solution? Then look no further than Black Pearl IT Solutions and Black Pearl Studios. Indiana's own Dana Black is providing many of the communication wraparound services any Democratic organization needs. No matter the size of the budget, Indiana's own and Black Pearl Studios have you covered. Just scan the QR code or visit www.blackpearl-its.com. All right. Yo, my favorite part of the show, I get to talk to my guests. You know what? I love meeting new people. New people make me happy. New candidates make me happy. And I need that new energy because that wasn't the most positive rant I've ever given. That one was kind of a little, but you know, I can't fake the funk and I can't co-sign BS. So I am who I am. All right. But you know what? I am encouraged by the fact that we have young people, new people who are saying, I want to make a change in my state house. I don't like the direction things are going in. I am going to put my name on the ballot and I am going to run, especially as Black women. First up, I want to introduce you to Katrina Owens, candidate for Indiana State Senate, District 32. Katrina, welcome to the show.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me.
And next up, I have Kyle Thele, who is a candidate running for Indiana House District 83. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dana, thanks for having me.
I love it. Guys, was there anything in my rant that you guys wanted to comment on? Katrina, you can go first.
Actually, no. I mean, you laid out some very well facts. I just want to, tell people to just pay attention and do your research, because we need you to show up in November for sure.
I love it.
And so I'll be at the state Democratic Convention next month. So I'll be in the room to make sure I do my own interviews and research as well.
I'll be there too. I'll see you there. Kyle, did you have anything?
Oh boy. Dana, I'm gonna try and follow your instructions here and not get myself in any trouble with this one. Micah Beckwith, in my opinion, of the Indiana candidates, might be the second most dangerous person on the ballot, behind only Todd Rokita.
Right.
He, and when I say dangerous, I mean, like you mentioned, he's physically dangerous to the people who he's going to be in a position of power over. He has already said that he wants to make it a regular part of his job that he's going to demand entrance into schools across the state where he can go in and teach his white Christian nationalist version of history. If that wasn't bad enough, the schools that push back, the schools that say no, he is going to dox those principals and superintendents. He's going to put their information out there for his supporters to do with as they please. And if there's one thing you're not going to do, you're not going to put my kids at school in harm's way. Just one of the most over the top scary things I've ever heard a politician say. And he's one of those guys, I've known them all my life growing up. Not enough people have told him to just
shut up.
Yeah, sit down and shut up. Stop talking. Your input is not needed here. Fortunately, we have two more opportunities to get him to sit down and shut up. We missed one, or the Republicans missed one, I should say. The other one is voting for Jennifer McCormick. I think that's obviously crucial. That's going to be the easiest way to just get him out of the way. Short of that, flipping the supermajority, flipping the House as much as possible. That will allow the reasonable adults in the room to say, no, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. So I love the voter, we can put the restrictions on him that he so desperately needs.
He does. You can always tell, like, when kids ain't never been told no when they was growing up, like, bro. I mean, I think the biggest problem for me is, he forgets that even though we may not be alike, I still pay my taxes. I still pay to contribute to our state's economy. I still am a part of this thing. And the fact that you want to be harmful to my community, or the harm that you could be causing to young kids who are in these spaces and trying to navigate a very cruel world as it is problematic. And what does it say to a young person when people in their government are targeting them? And so he's so problematic. I got to bring this back up because it's so dang on depressing just thinking about the fact that these kind of people are wanting to lead our state. All right, let's talk about y'all. Miss Katrina, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Sure, that's a loaded question. I am born and raised here in Indianapolis. Hey. So I am an Hoosier native.
What high school? You got to know what high school.
Well, I was getting there. I was going to say I was raised in Washington Township. I attended Washington Township schools K through 12 now, from kindergarten through 12th grade. So I really on the somewhat of the east side, the furthest east, the Washington Township line extended to.
Okay.
Then after high school, you
better call out your high school. You didn't call it out.
North Central High School. So I am a Panther.
Panther, baby.
I am alumni.
Class of 1988 over here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Wow. So yeah, I'm a Panther. There's a lot of us in great spaces and places.
I love it.
Right? We had a really large high school. So yes, North Central, former Panther alumni, class of 1997. I have no problem sharing my age. I am very much so blessed. Time is a gift. Right. And sometimes, many people forget that, as we see some of these decisions that are being made, they've taken advantage that tomorrow is promised, but it's not. Again, I am from here, Indianapolis. I ended up graduating from all Indiana colleges. I have 4 degrees, but I attended in the South. I started out at a HBCU. I share that because it's okay. Sometimes when you're 18, there's so much pressure for you to know where you want to go and who you want to be. But I went to school in Louisiana in Baton Rouge, and I had a whole lot of fun in New Orleans,
Okay.
and a lot of partying and a lot of fun. But I ended up returning back to Indianapolis when I was going to become a mother. So my daughter was born here. I do have a daughter. She is a senior right now at Purdue University.
Wow.
She is going to graduate in December. I am very proud of just of my journey. She was 7, 9, and 11 at all 3 of my commencement ceremonies,
Love it.
which I think aided into why she's so driven and why she was so focused. And at 6th grade, she came home and said, "Mommy, I want to go to Purdue University," in the 6th grade.
Wow.
And it's happened and it's happening, and she's about to graduate, right?
Love it.
So,
Goals, baby.
sometimes it's not just a straightforward journey. Everybody has their journey, and mine is mine. And I'm grateful for my journey. The highs and the lows is what made me who I am today. But I also realize the challenges of many individuals and residents and constituents, right? I'm a part of this working class. I have experienced some challenges with being just a parent, right? And you talk about the cost of childcare, the education system, advocating for my daughter, so a lot of the things, and even inflation, we can even talk about the cost of food, right? I mean, and wages just doesn't really equal to what we need to live these days, right? And for many people. So I'm just a normal person that has worked hard in this community in many ways. I have over 10 years of higher education experience. I've been an adjunct faculty member for over 10 years.
Wow.
I've taught more than 30 core sections. Also been in workforce development for the last 7. I used to manage the entire One Stop in Marion County. I continue to do some things as a consultant. And most recently, I ran a little small election back in 2020. I was nominated and I ran for the board of directors for the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals, NADA. I always like to give what it means before I say the acronym. And I had one opponent. I won. And so I represented Indiana amongst 34 other states.
Nice.
On this national board up until July of 2023. So, being just engaged, advocating, fighting for her rights, speaking against inequalities is nothing that's new to me. And I would say one of the proudest things that I did, it was published in December of 2022, and it's still published now. I wrote a racial equity course for career coaches, a part of the Rework America Alliance. It's now, again, still published and is out there for career coaches across the nation in workforce development for professional development. So that's a little bit some of who I am,
right,
where I come from.
Okay, so what colleges did you get all them 18 degrees from?
Right. Okay. So initially, I started out at Ivy Tech.
Okay.
When I returned back to college, I started out at Ivy Tech and received my associate degree. Then from Ivy Tech, I went to Indiana Wesleyan, and I finished that in 18 months. Then from Indiana Wesleyan, I finished 2 master's degrees from Ball State University.
Girl, my goodness, I'm feeling like an underachiever over here. I feel like I ain't done enough.
No, you've done plenty. But again, my daughter was my motivation.
I love it.
At this point, I was responsible for another human being that didn't ask to come here. I brought her here. And it was my responsibility to make sure that I secured just a better quality of life for us both. Because I had a great upbringing. I had both my mother and father who were amazing parents. And I had a really good childhood. And so I just wanted to make sure at the bare minimum that my daughter had the same. How did
you keep the drive? I know you said that she's your motivation, but did you have a good support system, or, were you, because being a single mom ain't easy.
No, it's not. It's not. I had a great support system, what I like to call our village. But it's about building the relationships outside of my family. I mean, I had some great from her preschool, from her child care providers. We were just really blessed and lucky to come across some amazing people because they were passionate and loved what they did every single day. They took care of her and me.
I love
Right.
it.
And I just, again, just so grateful for all those that were a part. And anytime I volunteered in this community, I will always ask, can I bring my daughter? Because if
Love
I
it.
can't bring my daughter, I don't think I can volunteer.
I love
And they
it.
understood that. And so she was always there with me.
I love it.
So people that were willing and people that understood. And I'm a former child advocate volunteer. I did that for a little bit. So I did home visits. So, you know, a lot of things, it put a lot of things in perspective for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And again, understanding what is out here and what people are going through.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, children in foster care system.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, again, I am very much so an advocate for reproductive rights, women's rights.
Well, we gonna get to policies. We gonna get
I
there.
know. Well, I'm just gonna say because I was a child advocate volunteer.
Yeah.
And unless you've gone into a home where children have been removed, I'm just gonna stop there.
Right.
Right.
I tell you, and one other thing. I'm also an Indiana Wesleyan graduate, so I'm just saying, you just following me. You just following me.
I am North Central, IW.
Now,
that's awesome.
I only have one master's. I ain't got two, but you's a bad woman, boy. But you know what? Sometimes as Black women, we got to go above and beyond. It is what it is. Kyle, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Hi.
Good luck in following that up, by the way.
Yeah. Talk about feeling overshadowed. I'm Kyle Thele. I live here in Fort Wayne. We're in the southwest part of the city, southwest part of Allen County here. I'm a Hoosier by choice, not by birth. I met my wife when we were both living in Chicago. And when we were looking to buy a house, it was just a natural fit. She's from here. We're moving closer to her family, and we have since found a home that we're in love with, and that we are fortunate enough to raise a family in. We have two small boys, a soon to be 1-year-old and a soon to be 3-year-old.
Ooh.
So we've got potty training and teething going on in the
same time.
Yeah, it's fun. When we moved here, I've always been politically aware, but moving to Indiana made me politically active. I saw the people around me. I got to know our neighbors and the people that they were, and then I saw our representation, and it just didn't fit. So I started just seeing where I could help out. My 9 to 5 is as a journalist, as a writer.
Ooh.
So I started volunteering where I could to see if I could just throw some of my skills behind candidates that I would like to help. I worked on Stephanie Crandall's Secretary of State campaign, and I mean, she's just a force of nature. So I learned so much from her just on the trail. I'm so excited to have her as a candidate again. And that was my first real hands-on campaign involvement. Since then, I worked on Stephanie Crandall's city council campaign here in Fort Wayne. And Stephanie is one of just the absolute smartest people I've ever met. If you have a question, even vaguely involving the city of Fort Wayne, she has 3 answers for you. And I've never met someone who is just so at their core a public servant, and she's amazing. And I try and take as much from her as I can. So I say all that to say that I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of the people I've worked underneath and worked for, because there are some just absolutely amazing Democrats in this state. And it's just unfortunate that we don't have more of a true representation. We don't have the caring and the love that are in the communities shown on a statewide, national level.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, brother.
I come from a world of sports writing, mostly.
Ah.
So I'm used to arguments. I'm used to long-winded conversations where people are pretty dug in. But what I think I've learned through work and that I've been able to bring into politics a little bit is you can have those conversations and still sit down and smile and get along if you're both coming from a good place. If you're both willing to have a real conversation, which is what we need more of in Indiana. We've got too many people that are just yelling at each other and have no desire to actually have a dialogue.
Right. I love that. I was going to ask you what kind of journalist you were. I'm not even going to bring up the W because, there's already enough controversy going on. I'm just going to leave it alone. But as a journalist, you're privy to seeing things that a lot of us are just not able to see. Was there anything in the court, even though you're a sports journalist, was there anything in the course of you writing and chronicling the environment that you lived in that you said, you know what, obviously the representation was your big thing, but was there a moment, a key issue? Was there a thing that said, I'm done. I gotta shut this down?
Yeah, it started before I moved here, and it started before I started working where I am as a sports journalist. I was just kind of writing newsy stuff, and it was unfortunately it was Donald Trump's election. It was one of those things that just kind of shook everyone who was following, and then you couldn't just follow anymore. You couldn't just follow along and watching it and seeing what happens. Everyone had to start doing what was necessary. And that was my first step. That's when I started writing a little bit more consciously, paying more attention to really what I'm talking about. And it's just been a snowball from there.
I love it. I love how you both of you have taken your careers and turned them into action. Guys, I'm sitting here talking to Katrina Owens, who is running for Senate District, what did I say, 32? Did I mess up?
Katrina.
What did I say?
Christina, but my name is Katrina. It's fine, like the hurricane.
I will edit that part out. Guys, I'm sitting here talking to Katrina Owens, candidate for Indiana Senate District 32, and Kyle Thele, who is running for Indiana House District 83. These candidates will need your assistance. Right. So there is a donate link attached to this. Please click on the donate link and donate whatever you can to these candidates. All donations will go to them. Right. I know it says turn left on it, but it's going to the candidates. It's a way for us to help our candidates out, because as much as we would like politics to not be about money, it's about money. You can't run a competent campaign without some few coins in the coffer. So please click on the donate link, give whatever you can, and help these candidates out. Become a recurring donor. If you can't do a $500 donation today, that's okay. Maybe you can do a $10 a month or a $50 a month. Okay, so consider becoming a monthly contributing donor to these candidates. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I'm going to talk about a few things. Right now, the Indiana supermajority is the reason why we are seeing such problematic pieces of legislation that are harmful to the environment, that are harmful to humans. That aren't, no, don't get me wrong. Every now and then you'll see something that comes out of there that is halfway decent. But for the most part, most of the policies are very, very harmful. Talk about the need, how important it is to you as a candidate right now to be the reason why that we in the supermajority in either chamber of the House or the Senate. Kyle, I'll start with you.
Sure. That's a great question, because everyone always asks, and it just feels like such a strange question looking at it from my perspective. Are you open to compromise? Are you willing to work with the other side? We're Democrats in Indiana. If we're not working with the other side, then we're not working.
Exactly.
We're not doing it. So I think it is so vitally important that we have a real seat at the table, that we can have a real opportunity to force a dialogue with the Republicans, with the other side. Because right now, you don't even have a situation where you have a united state where everyone in Indiana is in agreement on the things that we're doing. We have such low voter turnout.
Oh, God.
It's just a minority of people voting in these gerrymandered Republicans that then a minority of the representatives are actually doing any of the work.
Right.
So you get a minority of work. You just don't get much done in the state. And I'm excited beyond belief to have the opportunity to get to work and make some of those changes.
I love it. Miss Katrina?
So do I. That's great, Kaya. I agree. At this point, it's important. I mean, collaboration is key, right? And some common ground and common sense, choices and decisions is important, but also being a voice of the people. I have felt that there's some, not all, there are some that aren't being a voice for the people, but a voice for themselves.
Come on.
So let's be clear, right? So it's time for those to just step aside and let others take and have a seat at the table to be a voice for the people. I am a champion of Shirley Chisholm. When I tell you one of the things that she says that we have forgotten about and have moved away from that needs to be restored is that politics belongs to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I think some of our numbers have declined in terms of turnout, people are just so beat down, they're discouraged. But they haven't felt empowered. And it's time for them to feel empowered. Now more than ever, it's time for them to gear up and come out and show out, right? Because it does belong to them.
Yeah.
And if it didn't, we wouldn't have voters, right? If you think about it, right, we wouldn't need votes. So the vote counts, the vote matters, and we need them to come out and use that. And so, that's who I am. That's what I represent, right? There's no I, right? I to represent all people. And we have gotten away from that. Also, the public service piece of it. It's been diminished in some aspects for some. Again, but understanding what this truly is and what this is for and why it matters, right? And holding people accountable and speaking out against when people aren't being considered. Again, we have to get outside of ourselves and think about the all-encompassing and what's going to be better for all residents, the majority, right, of people. Because without the people, where will we be?
Come on, boy. You preaching over here today. All right, let's get into some issues. Our gubernatorial candidate is the former superintendent of education, and education has been the cornerstone of her platform. Let's talk about what you are seeing. And Ms. Katrina, I'm going to start with you. Talk about what you've been seeing in public education or the education system here in Indiana, the things that you have seen that have gone awry and how we should be, and maybe some ideas. You may not have all the solutions, right? Ain't nobody got, obviously, you're right. Actually, I do have a solution. They just won't listen to me. Some of the solutions that you would want to bring in solving some of the issues that you see in our education.
Honestly, would like to really look at maybe the research because I like to make well-informed decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what type of surveys they've done, what type of roundtables they've had in terms of speaking to parents, students. How about that? How about we talk to the students? Right. Well, bring them to the table, right? Why are we making decisions about what's best for them, right? Like, let's hear from them today, how they feel the current framework is. In some ways, we are working in 100-year-old framework and that doesn't apply to today. So we need to move that forward anyway into 2024, kind of rethinking what the educational framework looks like for our children today to better prepare them for tomorrow. But we should be including them in these conversations. So what I would like to see is something along that side. It's having some type of roundtable meetings with parents and students. Believe me, because they have a voice of their own. They're the ones in these classrooms, right? Yeah. So listening to them, inclusion is, if we want to talk about equity and inclusion, include the people and who you're making these decisions for.
Yeah.
All right. So really would like to do that and see that because I haven't really seen much of that. And as a parent that advocated a lot for her child, I understood what the needs of my child was. So I think that when it comes to education, it should be more of a parent choice, right? Some things shouldn't be for government to choose. It should be the parent choice for what's best for their child. But making sure that we are including them in these conversations. Just re-looking at the framework as a whole, I think that I like to look at things like a tree, right? As far as an analogy. I mean, a tree it's rooted, it doesn't, you got to dig it up at the roots. You can't just pull at the leaves or cut off a limb. It doesn't work, right? I mean, you got to look at the root of the problem. And I think that we're looking and pulling at leaves and cutting off limbs, and we're not going to the root of issues. So especially when it comes to education and really thinking about, well, what are we preparing our children for, right? And
point.
so we really need to look at that because children grow up, right? And now I have a young adult, right? And so, are we preparing them for adulthood? Are we preparing them for life? I mean, again, what are we educating them to then become? And so, again, having those conversations, including folks at the table more, and talking to the students.
Yeah, and one thing is for certain, when you give students an opportunity to show up at a school board and address, they get on that mic, they ain't never scared. Kyle, same question for you, sir.
Yeah, I think one of the things Katrina absolutely nailed is we are just fundamentally doing a bad job of preparing students. We're siloing them into very specific things before they have any idea what those things are, and trying to push them in certain directions that may or may not make any sense. The biggest thing that I think we need to do is we need to stop funding private schools and charter schools with public money, especially when the money has no strings attached. What the current State House has done is pretty much create a slush fund for these private schools. These schools that could disappear tomorrow in a lot of cases, and we're just signing over blank checks that they can do with whatever they please. And we're doing so at the cost of our public schools. One of the reasons why we're living in the house that we're living in right now is because of the school system. It's the same school system that my wife went to, Homestead High School, growing up, and we were excited to have some of those same opportunities. But now a lot of resources, a lot of money is being pulled from those public schools, and they're just being sent away. So our kids are being put at a disadvantage, and they're being put at a disadvantage for families who frankly don't need the money. They've changed around some of the incentive programs and lifted some requirements. So now families making over $200,000 are getting assistance when our public schools are floundering.
Yeah.
My district also represents Whitley County and Columbia City. Columbia City doesn't have that many private and charter school options. So you're taking money from those schools and you're putting it into schools that these students don't even have an option to go to. So we're stealing from the poor to give to the rich.
Absolutely. I could not have said it better. I struggle with vouchers when you consider, that the voucher doesn't give you enough to cover the full tuition of a private school. So you have to be of some wealth to be able to finish off what is the remaining tuition. And it is at a definite cost. These people swear they love rural Indiana, but they don't mind skimping them on some school resources because that's exactly what they're doing. They have to do more with less. Great talking points, guys. All right, let's talk about healthcare. There are counties in our state right now that don't even have emergent facilities, and we know that the infant and maternal mortality rates in Indiana are ridiculously high, especially among Black and brown women. And I just don't see where there's enough effort being put in to address some of the shortcomings. In fact, I see where a lot of times there's policies coming out of that state house that make it even more difficult for people to get the health care that they need. Kyle, we're going to start with you this time. Talk about your vision for health care for Hoosiers.
Yeah, man, we're dealing with it in my district. Whitley County just lost one of the biggest birthing centers that they have available to them.
Not the birthing center. No, bro. No, not these pro-life, not these the birthing center.
Yeah. So the party that is all about making women have babies is now making it so that it might kill them. Period. Like, there's just no way around it. When you take away these resources, when you take away the medical professionals, you're putting lives at risk. So now you have a situation where pregnant mothers have no option other than going to term, and then they have no option but to drive a good distance to find anyone who is medically capable of taking care of them.
Wow.
So it's just it's just so disheartening to see what is happening in our hospitals, what's happening in these places where the doctors are trying. That, it's not like we have bad doctors or we have doctors that are trying to go along with all of these outrageous opinions from the GOP. We're losing doctors to other states because we keep getting rid of the places for them to work or putting them at risk of being arrested.
Oh my God, yes. And we have a serious brain drain, and quality of life is everything. You can throw the money at a person, but if they're looking like, but if I get pregnant, I could die here. No, thank you.
Right.
Miss Katrina?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll call this a fun fact. One thing I didn't share. I started out in healthcare.
Okay.
So I was in healthcare for about 6 years. I'm a former licensed EMT in the state of Indiana.
Come on now. Not a first responder too. Oh my goodness.
Well, listen,
Kyle, we gotta get our weight up.
Well, again, that's a part of being a parent and a single parent and working, right? Those were just ladders, steps on my ladder. I had to work, but I moved up the ladder along the way. But when you talk about healthcare, right, and one of the things that is also a priority for me, health equity, right? I've seen firsthand what happens. I worked in labor and delivery, high risk, and triage for almost 7 years.
Oh, so you just wasn't doing x-rays. You wasn't in the imaging department. You was, man, you're killing me.
So when you talk about the livelihood of women when they are expecting, right? And things that happens, because not everyone's pregnancy is a healthy pregnancy. Let's be clear, right? There's quite a few things that can happen, and it's unfortunate. We need to make sure that resources are increased, but we're also supporting the organizations that offer healthcare at free and reduced cost that are out here in this community and create more of those throughout this state. I know that they exist. I've used some services in the past because I had to, right? And I knew, but I found out where to go, and I'm grateful for those times and those people, right? We cannot allow those to go away. We can't push them out of our community. We need more of those. We need to make sure, again, that individuals are aware. Awareness is key. So making sure that I'm collaborating and I'm advocating, because messaging, we have to let people know that they exist and where to find them. I also teach psychology, so I understand human behavior very well. And when you are up against the wall, right, and you are in a position of survival, you don't always make the best choices that can be impactful to your life and your livelihood, right? So it's just key that we make healthcare a priority. because I'm not quite sure it is. Let's talk about from a state standpoint. Where's the list of priority here?
It's
right?
not. It's
And
not.
so we need to increase and make healthcare a priority, right? I mean, because some of these other things, they may be important, but they're not as a priority as as others. And healthcare should be at the top.
It should be right there with education, right there. Well, but you know what's most important to them, right? Is that AAA rating. That's what's important. Let's keep that AAA rating because that's what it is. All right, one more general broad topic, and then we'll get into y'all specific stuff. Let's see. You know, it's a hot one out here today. And there's like a whole heat wave sitting on top of the Midwest and the East right now. And I know people are trying to find new terms for climate change or, whatever. But we can see right now that there is a shift in weather patterns. There's a shift in, how the earth is processing things. I recognize Indiana by itself wouldn't be able to do as much. But talk about, how do y'all feel about renewable energies like solar panels, wind farms, who went for, Katrina, you're first this time. Talk about your thoughts and how, if you could, maybe move us further along on these renewable energies.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important, right? You can look at the research alone. I like to take deeper dives into things. The research is there. It's showing. I mean, climate change is real, and we need to pay attention to that and not ignore that and push it to the side. It's happening. We need to invest in more renewable energy and resources. It is helpful. I mean, me personally, I have an EV vehicle. It's the best thing I could have ever done. And I sold my gas card last year and I haven't been at a gas station since last September. I see the difference in my wallet. Even in my house, I've transitioned a lot. I think solar panels are helpful. They do work. Just reducing cost. How can we reduce costs for citizens in a way that we're not increasing their bills, right? Because the majority of the residents in Indiana, as far as the statistic shows, definitely the average household is not at $100,000 a year, not statewide, they're not. And right, they're more in the middle. Right. And so let's be clear about that. And we need to make sure that we have things in place that will lower costs for our residents as we continue to move forward. With everything else going up, where can we cut? And then to just preserving the earth and what's not harmful to our environment. Also, our environment is a part of who we are as people when you think about it, right? We are cut from the earth too. We're attached to the environment in many ways. That's why green spaces are important. Our parks are important, right? I mean, that's just where I stand on that. I would definitely wholeheartedly support it and work with the organizations that are doing research about it, that have that's the scope of work of what they do every day. And making sure that I'm working with them and supporting them. And when it comes to funding, making sure that it's fair. It's fair and it's also in that bucket as well, because we need to pay attention to that.
I love it. Kyle, talk to me.
Well, I think Katrina nailed it again. The way to get this done is not to go out there and shame people for doing this, that, or the other. It's to show how big of a difference going green and being more environmentally friendly, how big of a difference it can make on your bottom line. The difference it can be in your bills every month. Austin Knox up here.
I know Austin.
Yeah, Austin's great. He got the township building to put solar panels up, and the difference it made in the building's bills, which gets paid for by taxpayers, is astounding. and that's just a township building. So we have that kind of thinking. If we can expand on that, what are we doing? There are easy options out there that we just need to take and show from a government level, hey, we're doing this and it's working at a government level. If you have the opportunity, think about what the difference it can make for you on an individual level. I think that's key.
Yeah, and I love these answers from both of y'all because currently the supermajority is doing everything they can to keep coal plants open. They are even fining, companies if they want to, retire a coal plant early, right? No, we're going to fine you. We need you to keep burning that coal, and Duke Energy is talking about, raising rates on all their customers just to maintain coal plants. And they're not even plants that people are actually getting energy from. So I know sometimes in urban areas, we get caught up in what we're doing on a day-to-day that we forget about that we are impacting and affecting the environment. Now, I applaud you for your EV vehicle, but I like to drive too much and I don't like the way, so I'm probably contributing more than I should. But if they came up, see, I have a great plan. I have an idea for EVs. Okay. So it's the charging stations for me. I can't be waiting 5 hours to charge a battery. So why don't we treat EV batteries like we do any other type of battery? We standardize them. So if you needed a AAA in your car, you get a AAA battery. If you need a double, and then you go to the station and they're already sitting there charging and you pay for whatever it would be for a full tank of gas to get somebody to switch it out and slap it back in, then I'm on my way. But no, they don't want to do it like that. So therefore, what you got, Kyle?
So Tesla told everyone that that's what they were going to do. They got all sorts of funding, all sorts of money, and that was what they were going to do across the country. Then this will surprise everyone, I'm sure. Elon Musk never followed through.
Of course not. Of course not.
I'm not here to say that, I could do that. I could figure out that technology, but that's something that's been talked about, and that's a goal. And then the people who are trusting to make these things happen are falling flat. And that's where government needs to step in and say, no, that's not okay. You can't do that.
No.
If we're going to entrust you with some of this stuff, and batteries I know they're attempting to make them more standardized. That's out there. We need to push for it. We need to make it happen.
Absolutely, because time is money too. Did you want to say something, Ms. Katrina?
No, what I was going to say is even bigger than that, right? Making sure that our public transportation system.
Get out my head.
Okay, so, we wouldn't have to worry about gas or batteries, right? When we look at the public transportation, that's why it's so key. And the whole BRT was important even here, right? And one of the things, that when I look at infrastructure and a huge advocate for that, because when you go to other cities, for what we talk about, like DC, for example, granted, we don't have a transit like trains, but I wouldn't have a car out there. You don't need it. You can get everywhere you need it to go. We have to catch up in this state when we talk about public transit, that I will take the public transit more, right? You wouldn't necessarily need to have a vehicle if we have the transportation system that we so desperately need in this state and in the city of Indianapolis for sure. And so, I don't know how anyone can go against and try to stop the growth and progression of our public transportation system. So it's just so important. I mean,
that's Senator.
Right. So there's another thing again, the voter's choice. I mean, again, we have people that vote, and 59% of Marion County voters voted for the BRT. 59%. Yes. Okay, so that was 192,000 voters. They said they wanted it.
That clown, that guy, that senator decided that, I don't want it, so I'm going to shut it down. Well, but so here's the other thing. If you ever go to, have y'all been to Europe before? I only been once. I went to Germany last year, and you realize as a nation, we are so far behind when it comes to public transportation. We are just, it makes you sad. I literally was on an underground train, an above ground train, and they had buses. What are we doing? We getting it all messed up. All right, let's talk about y'all.
You don't need to go to Europe for that. I'm missing those public transportation options from Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
You take
Absolutely.
Atlanta.
Absolutely.
underground and above ground.
Mhm.
Man, I know that they keep talking about connector trains that go through the state. Let's make it happen. Let's connect Indiana to the rest of the Midwest with
Oh,
trains.
my God.
It's so much easier to get around.
We're supposed to be the
Absolutely.
crossroads of America, right? We're supposed to be the crossroads of
Supposed to be, that's what we say. So we should make it literally the crossroads of America. So if anything, really pushing for that at the State House, we have to be progressive. We have to catch up.
But these guys would rather
right?
you have a horse and buggy. Indiana's Own Dana Black. I am talking to Katrina Owens and Kyle Thele. All right, guys. Miss Christina, why do I keep saying that? Miss Katrina, every candidate has at least 3 top issues that they are talking about when they're out knocking on doors and when they are meeting with people and talking to voters. Tell me your 3 issues that you're talking about when you talk to your constituents.
Sure. First and foremost is advocating for human rights and our freedom of choice, right? Creating jobs and economic growth and improving education, as we also talked about, right? So those are the things that I'm speaking about and talking to voters about. So really the 3 focus areas that you'll see on the website, on my website, is human rights, economic equity, and infrastructure, right? A lot of I have a survey out. So if anyone's listening, lives in a district, I want to hear from you. I have a survey because I want to hear from the constituents. Imagine that, right? I'm taking a poll from them, right? What issues do they see? What are they experiencing? But from what I've been told, a lot has been infrastructure. They talk about the roads quite a bit, right? And we're experiencing a closure right now, even on the highway, that's impacting most of my district right now.
Have mercy.
But I understand
it's impacting the entire city.
Well, it is. And I understand that they have to do the work, right? And we have to repair our roads and we have to upkeep these things, and it's only temporary, but it's a lot of work that's happening. It just appears to be happening at once. And I'm just talking to people about, of course, these things have to happen. We want our roads to improve. Closures have to happen. But, how do we make sure that these plans that are in place are that makes sense for the future as well, and not just for the time being. We have to think about, we have outgrown our infrastructure here locally anyway, the original. So it was time to kind of blow it up and rebuild, but just making sure that, again, our human rights. We talk about women, we talk about reproductive rights. We're talking about just the freedom of choice, the voter's choice, as we were talking about with the BRT. Come on. That's just first and foremost. What are we again doing this for? We're doing this for the people.
Yeah, and most of the people in that state house right now are ridiculously well, I'm not gonna say ridiculous old, but they're older, and they're literally. Whoever gave them the most money, or whoever who got in their ear, they don't even live in Indianapolis, and they're making decisions about Indianapolis, and it just drives me up a freaking wall. It'll be somebody from Switzerland County. I don't know. It'll be from somewhere else, and they don't have nothing to do with what's going on in Indianapolis, and will try to shut down what's going on in Marion County, and it just burns my soul. Kyle, what are your 3?
Before I jump into those, I try and tell everyone this when I'm talking to someone who's out of the area. I agree. A lot of the problem is you got some bad representatives up here that are hurting things in Indianapolis. So if you're in Marion County, if you're in Indianapolis and you don't like how statewide politicians are treating you, think about maybe supporting someone outside of your area, because there are some great representatives in Indianapolis. But if we can start flipping Allen County more and some of the other metropolitans around the state, it's going to make a big difference for Indianapolis.
Oh, good point. Thank you for that public service announcement.
My 3, this is going to surprise no one. I want to focus on the family. I'm going through it right now. So everything I talk about is something from my heart. It's not something that's being polled. It's not something that I'm trying to fine tune. It's something that I'm seeing and feeling. We talked about education a bit already, but public education is one of the most important things in the world to me.
Hey.
You can tell so much about a civilization based on how they treat their public education. And we're treating it horribly right now. We need to do so much more for the kids that we are supposed to be taking care of. We are putting them at a disadvantage in every aspect, and then we're blaming them and saying, no, you have to do it again. So we need to be doing so much more for public education, make sure that they're getting the funds that are supposed to already be going to them. And then let's do a little bit more on top of that. There's so much more good we can be doing. Before we even get to public education, let's talk about childcare.
Ooh.
Childcare is such a mess in the state of Indiana right now that you have families paying more for childcare than they would be for college. You have families, and I can attest to this. I saw it. We were unprepared for it, but I saw it. You have families that are being told they need to start paying to be on a wait list for daycare, for childcare, before
What?
conceived. We have wait lists that are 10 months, a year long, and this is for infant classes, where you need to start paying $100 or more to just be on the list. So
That should be illegal.
I wholeheartedly agree. And then the other option is you send your child to a daycare that doesn't have the funding, that doesn't have the resources or the overhead control, anyone to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So you're sending your kids into a complete unknown. Neither of those options are acceptable for us as a state. There are so many ways that even just neighboring states, you don't need to go to California or New York. You've got neighboring states that are at least trying, that are at least doing something to help with childcare. The business sector wants to help with childcare. We have businesses that realize they're losing parents who can't work anymore. A lot of times they're losing moms who can't work anymore because they have to stay home with their kids because there's no other option. These businesses want to help out. They need a little push, they need a little direction, but they're there. The money is there if we use it properly. Indiana has a knack for finding money for things that it wants.
Baby.
Childcare is something that we want. The third thing that ties in with all of it, we need to support our working families. And that means union jobs. That means small businesses, because I think those go hand in hand. And too often, small businesses and Main Street gets put at odds with union workers and those bigger corporations. The problems are with the corporations, not with the union workers. We get better union work, and you're going to see a quality of life that just explodes. We get more support for Main Street small businesses, and you're going to see a community that's proud of these small businesses and proud to call it home. Too often, and you're going to see more and more of it in the next year or two, we had a lot of support for small businesses through 2020, through the pandemic, because they needed it. And we recognized from a national level that we needed to support these small businesses. That money is disappearing. That money's not going to be there anymore. So if nationally that money is getting taken away, what's Indiana going to do to make sure that the small business that is now a part of the community, because it's been there for 3-4 years, can still stay afloat? And I'm not talking about handing out checks or, just state-run organizations. Just give them some infrastructure to get through. They don't need handouts. They need help. So let's do what we can.
I love it. You guys have got great points. And needless to say, like I told you, this hour will go by real fast. And we passed time. I could talk to you guys. You guys are so, first of all, insightful, and you're the word with I'm having a hard time with the word right now, but you guys are like intentional. That's what I was looking for. You guys are very intentional. You're not running because you think you look good on a poster. You guys have gone through your own set of trials and tribulations and have come out on the other side and are great examples to your respective communities. So I appreciate you both getting out here, doing what, most people say can't be done, and being able to challenge it and articulate exactly who you are and why you're doing the work. So thank you very much for joining me. All right.
Thank you.
Ms. Katrina, tell the people where they can find you.
Sure, absolutely. You can find me everywhere in this community. No, seriously, these days, but no. On my website is Owens, the number 4in.com. We have a Facebook page, Instagram, but you can connect to those on the Owens, the number 4in.com website. You can find me there and connect to my team. We need volunteers. As Dana said, we need support. We need donations. We need all that, right? We have to get out the vote and turn the seats. And have an opportunity to be out here for you guys and represent all people. So that's the best way to connect is through my website. And again, I thank you so much, Miss Dana Black, for inviting me on this show.
I love it. I love it. Kyle, tell the people where they can. Oh, wait. Do you have any fundraisers coming up, Miss Katrina?
I will. It won't be for a month from now,
Okay.
July 17th, but I will have a fundraiser coming up that we're putting together right now.
Okay.
And so I don't have all the details, but July 17th is what we're looking at. And then I'll post that out, and then you can find us even through the Marion County DIM should post it. Hopefully IN DIM should send the information out as well.
All right. Kyle, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, my website is kyle4staterep.com. That's KYLEFOR staterep.com. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. You can find me. Instagram is Kyle IN State Rep. More than that, reach out. I make it a point in my campaign. I am in the community. If you want to email me, you can email me. It's kyle@kyle4staterep.com. I'll respond. If someone wants to reach out, I'll have no problem exchanging phone numbers. I want to have the conversations. I want to talk. You're going to see me in the community anyways. Like I said, I've got two small kids. We're going to the things anyways. So I may as well throw on a campaign shirt and see if I can talk to some people.
I love it. And do you have any fundraisers coming up?
Yeah, this weekend, actually, I will be at the Sip Saver support event at Country Winery up here, just off Route 3. Then beyond that, this is kind of the first time I'm really talking about this. So all of the details aren't fully finalized, but I'm going to be doing a Coffee with Kyle event each week. Around lunchtime, roughly 1:30, I'm going to be at United Coffee just here in town. I want to talk to people. Come on by. Let's sit down, have a cup of coffee, however much time you got on your lunch break. We can kick it, just, whatever you want to talk about. I'm there. I want to have all the conversations.
I love it. I love it. Hey, I thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come talk to the listeners. Don't go anywhere. I got to close off with you, but you guys are fantastic. And I'm excited about the new energy that you're bringing to our party. Because, guys, that's what we need, right? We got to have people that are willing to step up and run for office. Quality people. I mean, 4 degrees. I mean, a journalist. I mean, just out here saving the world, one job at a time. These candidates are workers and are servants, and these are the type of candidates that we need. We also need candidates like Joe Biden. Did y'all hear what he did today? Did y'all hear what he did? He made an executive order or something where he's going to cut student loans for those who are still paying for them from 10% down to 5% of your income. Huh? See, I'm telling this. Everybody always want to say, what has Biden done for black people? Most black people who went to college, most of us, our parents, weren't paying for colleges out their pocket. So we went and got student loans. So here's another example of how Biden is helping black people, right? And if you've been paying on your student loans for 10 years, he said, we're going to forgive them. We're going to forgive them. So see, these are the kind of leaders we need. We need people that's going to be about the people. You know, Joe Biden has been, since he said, we said we wanted a black woman on the Supreme Court. We got that. We said we wanted a black woman as the vice president. We got that. We still didn't get that voting rights bill, but I'm blaming the black Republican from South Carolina on that one, because he did an old okey doke. He did the Lucy and the Charlie Brown with the football thing. He was like, yo, I'm working with you, but not really. He played Cory Booker, and we know it. But do not skip out on the opportunity to help a candidate any way you can. Time, talent, or treasure. Now more than ever, our democracy is at stake, our state is at stake, and our lives are at stake. So please do not take this lightly. And this is not hyperbolic. This is real talk. All right. I'm gonna keep bringing you the candidates each week. And I'm excited about who I have coming on. I got some congressional candidates that are slated to come on later in the year. And yes, I have booked Miss McCormick, so maybe I can see if I can get them both on at the same time, get them talking together. So I'm going to have Miss McCormick on. I am so excited about that because I want to have a turn left conversation with her, not one of them other ones. You know how them other ones be. Let's have a turn left conversation. So keep watching, keep listening. I thank you for tuning in, and I will holler at you next time. Peace.
Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.